Please welcome Planet co-founder and CEO, Will Marshall.
Thanks, everyone. I'm absolutely excited to welcome you all to Planet's first user conference. Before I get going with some of the exciting topics we have to cover, we have a special guest who wanted to say just a few words but couldn't be here today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Al Gore, and I am proud to be a friend of Planet Labs and a friend of Will Marshall, the CEO of Planet Labs. I have followed this company's development for years now, and what's being put in place is truly extraordinary. It is a unique planetary asset that is already generating tremendous value in the public interest. Environmentalists are able to use the images prepared daily by Planet Labs, organizations monitoring deforestation, organizations tracking pollution of different kinds, farmers. The number of use cases is almost endless. So I want to congratulate you, Will. I want to congratulate the full team at Planet. I had the occasion to go back and do an updated tour just a few weeks ago. It's always fascinating and fun, and I know the future is going to look very bright for Planet, and because of Planet, it's going to look a little bit brighter for our planet.
Thanks very much, Al. So Planet's been up to a lot of stuff over the last year. We've launched another 4 rockets with over 50 satellites into space. We've taken some beautiful imagery around the planet, in this case of one of my favorite hiking spots there in Yosemite. Our imagery has been picked up in the news media, shedding light on important events going on around the world, in this case a couple of weeks ago with the attack on the Saudi oil facility. And we even track our beloved local climate phenomenon, Carl the Fog, who's on fine form this morning, I noticed. And it's thanks to the tireless work of our team here in San Francisco and around the world who spend all hours, God sends, to enable the capabilities that you guys all enjoy. And I'm really, really proud to be part of that team. You know, Planet, believe it or not, has been at it for 8 years, and we've come a long way. It's been many milestones and successes and failures, and you know, we've achieved, I think, quite a lot. Here's some of the numbers that are, you know, impressive to us. The one that makes the biggest impact to me is that we have now imaged the entire Earth's landmass more than 1,000 times on average. Every single point on the Earth's surface, we have 1,000 data points documenting immense change. That's more than the Landsat archive, full archive of imagery over 40 years before us. And that change is documenting how the Earth is changing. And today we produce a tremendous volume of imagery, more than Landsat, Sentinel, and all the other commercial providers combined in number of pixels or area. It's really a tremendous amount of imagery. And all throughout the last 8 years, our missions remain the same: to image the entire Earth's landmass every single day and make change visible, accessible, and actionable. And to be honest, we spent most of the first 6 years on the first half of this sentence. And the last couple of years, we've really been focusing more on the second half. And while I'm on our mission, I want to speak a little bit about our values. You see, when we left NASA to start the company, we very much wanted to have a positive impact on the world. And I believe that it is true that not only can we, but we are now indeed having a positive impact around the planet and on some of the greatest challenges that humanity faces, from tracking and helping us to understand climate change, to helping us to improve agricultural yields, which is so important for the clash between the number of humans, the changing diets, and not destroying the rest of the ecosystems, to disaster response around the planet after fires and earthquakes and floods and so on, to shedding important light on key geopolitical events around the planet. And I want to say that with this power comes responsibility, and we take that responsibility very seriously. We believe it is our duty to try to steer this technology to have the most positive impact, taking into account all the complex nuances of how it impacts the globe. It's not always easy, but we're going to try our best, and we definitely think it's partly our role to take responsibility. So I want to show a few sampling of use cases of how you all are using our data, because it is extremely exciting. BASF and Origin Enterprises have been using our data to improve crop and farm productivity in sub-Saharan Africa. Orbital Insight and Kairos have been using our data to track commodities around the planet. Global Forest Watch and the UN Food and Agricultural Organization have been using our data to track the destruction and deforestation in the Amazon. Iowa Emergency Services in the state of Iowa have been using our data to look at the flooding effects around the Mississippi. Vulcan and many academic researchers around the world have been using our data to do the first global map of all the world's corals, classifying them by type and revisiting them to check and ensure the health of those corals. Immediately after me, Philip Cousteau is coming up, and I'm sure he'll be back there, hopefully excited about this particular use case. The US government has been using our data to track North Korean sanctions violations. Google have been using our data not just in their maps, but in improving flood prediction models by using our SkySats to improve digital elevation models after the monsoon season in India. And even just this weekend, our data was showing how the fires are wreaking havoc down in Los Angeles. And in fact, we work closely with the state of California in general to help them with emergency response. And we'll hear from Governor Gavin Newsom later this afternoon about some of that work. And also this weekend, we were tracking the flooding that happened over as a result of the typhoon that hit the side of Japan. Here's a before and after image that's really quite crazy. And helping the relief operators to help the people that are affected by these extreme events. I think it's fair to say that our data is being used for a wide variety of purposes all around the planet. And those were just a sampling of use cases. We now have over 500 customers around the world that are using our data on a regular basis to help make informed, timely decisions. But who is Planet? Who are we? Because I think there's some confusion. Some people think of us as a satellite company, and of course we do have satellites. Some people think of us as an imagery company, and we certainly produce imagery. Some think of us as a software or a platform company, and we certainly have that as well. But the way we think of ourselves, and I think our goal, is to provide geospatial insights at the speed of change to equip you, our users, to make more informed, timely decisions. And I want to emphasize and underscore the last part of that, the last 4 words, because we think of it as our goal to help you all make those smarter decisions. That's what we set ourselves as an objective. And we think of Planet really as a data company. And data is a capability that's useful, and we're part of a growing class of companies that data is the core. The Economist recently quipped that it's the most valuable resource and it's outpacing oil. I hope it can be less environmentally damaging than oil, but I certainly agree with the analogy at some level that it underscores how a lot of industries are transforming and improving their efficiency. And so that's how we think of Planet. And that leads us to think about ourselves in terms of building 3 components to what we have. Firstly is the imagery itself, which is the unique data that we have based on our unique satellite system. The second thing is all the insights that we build on top of that imagery, from the base maps that we stitch together, cloud-free base maps, or the analytics-ready data, or the change detection and feature identification on top of that. And then the third layer is how we deliver it to you all. That is the Explorer tool, the API, and the integrations with geospatial workshop software. And so it all fits together like this. And then how we see us finishing and you guys starting as our partners is like this. So we have a set of clients that work directly on the back of those APIs and Explorer tools, especially large enterprises in the area of mapping and government and large agricultural companies. We work with analytic solution providers that add value-added services on top of our data, especially in energy and certain other sectors that need other analytical capabilities. And then we work with resale partners around the world that we call solution providers. So that's what we think of how Planet fits into the ecosystem. And in that context, our partner network is really important. And so I'm pleased to announce that we're relaunching our Planet partner ecosystem. We're calling it Planet Orbit. And tomorrow morning, if you're at 9 a.m., we're having our first partner summit. If you're a partner of Planet, you are welcome to attend there tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I think it's just as important to talk about what we are not. So that's some of the things about who we are. But it's important in an ecosystem, if you're going to have an efficient ecosystem, you will need to know what we're not going to build so that you know where you can safely invest, and to have an efficient interplay between these different areas of what we do and what you all do. And so here's a few things we're not going to be doing. One is integrating lots of data sets, especially bespoke to a specific area of vertical market. We're not going to be adding lots of vertical market specific applications or investing in new algorithms for vertical markets. And we're not going to be adding regional expertise. These are the things that we think of in your bucket. And so let me give you an example. In agriculture, we're not going to be taking soil moisture data or pH data and adding it with our data, or developing and investing in agriculture-specific algorithms. The broad way to think about it is, we think of ourselves as this horizontal data layer, and that other people help with those vertical market and local integrations that are important to connecting that with the real end users. And before I get onto some of our product announcements, let me tell you a little bit about what our current products are today. Let's just recap that. Firstly, we have our monitoring product. That's our daily imaging from the PlanetScope satellites that image the whole planet every day, and we have scenes from those. The second is we have these base maps, which I think are often underutilized, where we stitch together those imagery into beautiful cloud-free mosaics once a month globally, and you can ask for more frequent in any particular area. And then we have our high revisit, rapid tasking system with the SkySat satellites. And then finally, we have the analytics software that sits on top of that. Those are our core products. And in that context, let me tell you about a few things that are coming now. The first announcement I want to make is in the field of imagery. I'm super excited to announce today that we are going to an 8-band system. So PlanetScope today is 4 bands, and the near-infrared band is what powers agriculture, and we are moving that from 4 to 5 and then to 8 bands over the coming months. These are the 4 new bands. So we have near coastal blue, which helps with understanding nearshore environment for maritime applications, red edge, which helps with vegetative stress, yellow, which helps with crop classification, and we split our green band into 2, which helps with understanding plant health. Not only do we think that these bands are extremely useful for specific industries, but in addition, this is new information that the machine learning tools can toss up in different ways to distinguish between different objects. We think all these bands are going to be extremely valuable for the machine learning, which is increasingly the main consumer, not human eyes, of our data. And so we think of this as the first imagery product that's designed for AI in mind. And I want to take a small space interlude here, because I want to introduce to you the SuperDove spacecraft that are powering this data. This is Chester Gilmore here, and he runs our manufacturing. This is a SuperDove spacecraft. It is a real one. In fact, Chester, don't drop it. It's going to space. In a couple of weeks, it's being sent off to the launch site. But it is incredible what capabilities we've stuffed into this new SuperDove spacecraft. It's got a wider field of view telescope. It's got a larger camera, 47 megapixel rather than a 29 megapixel camera. It's got double the hard drive space, lots more reaction wheels, so many other capabilities. The radios, let me just tell you a little bit about these radios. They can get down data over 1.5 gigabits a second at 1,000-kilometer range. And it's incredible from these little antennas on the front. To give you a sense, that's faster than the data rate from the WorldView 4 satellite that costs close to $1 billion. These are not toys. We've stuffed an incredible amount of sophisticated capability into these. And of course, they have these new spectral bands that I think are so important for all these different use cases. So that's the SuperDove spacecraft. And not only is one here, as is traditional for Planet, to announce things only once we put them in space, we have put a lot of these in space. We've got 26 of them in orbit. And the imagery is coming down. We've commissioned those satellites, and we're going to begin to provide access to that data. Thank you very much, Chester. Let me show you some of the imagery coming down. This is an RGB image of a particular area in a river, and this is with the near-infrared green 1 and coastal blue bands. This is with the red edge, yellow, and blue bands. This is another area showing off the near-infrared green 1 and coastal blue. I really love how the coastal blue looks in these false color imagery. This is another area, just showing a few examples. Look at that, it's incredible. They're producing beautiful imagery, and you can sign up for early access. That's going to be available this quarter to start accessing first the 4-band, then the 5-band, then this full 8-band system over the coming months. The next announcement I want to make is around the area of analytics. I'm pleased to announce 3 sub-developments here. We've been working hard on vessel, road, and building detection systems. And it's taken us a long while to get them working, not just locally, but globally. And now we think that they're ready for prime time. So the first announcement is that they are now generally available. So anyone can buy them today. If you want more information about these analytic feeds, you can go down to our product lounge, and they can tell you about it, how you can add that as a package on top of the imagery that you've currently got, or along with new imagery that you want to get with these analytics feeds. And the second announcement related to that is that we have not just got them working globally, but we've done a first global run. This is us here in San Francisco with the roads and buildings, the roads in red and the buildings in blue. But this is a video showing how we have done our first global run, not just here in San Francisco or in California or in the United States or in North America, but all the roads and buildings for the entire Earth. Thank you. Not only do we think this is the most up-to-date map of all the world's roads and buildings, especially in developing countries where it's often quite out of date, but what's super important is the power of combining this with our monthly global base maps that we already produce, that we can now then find out how many new roads and new buildings there are being added to any particular region or of the world or country. And so that combination with the monthly mosaics is extremely powerful. Imagine what you could extract in terms of information from and all the use cases from that combination of our monthly base maps and our analytics feeds there. And finally, I want to talk about change detection. A lot of you have asked for, well, we don't just want the analytics, we want to just be alerted when there's some sort of change in the number of buildings or roads or what have you. And this is a first look into that. This quarter, we're going to be releasing an early access program to what we call change detection, built on the back of our analytics feeds. This is change detection of all the buildings in the urban areas of China, done over a series of a year on our monthly mosaics. And here's a graph on the bottom left showing how the number of new buildings is changing over time in those cities. So that's net new building area on the left-hand side. It's an incredible amount of development, of course, there in those cities, but that can be automatically detected. And you can zoom in and find the specific buildings that have been added over whichever period, in this case, over a year. And the third announcement I want to make is in the area of integrations. So a lot of you have asked us to ensure that our data is readily able to be pulled into whichever geospatial software system you are using. So we heard you, and we've been working on that. And we're proud to announce two updates there. Firstly, we are releasing our second version of our ArcGIS integration. So now you can not just get base maps in there readily available, but also our scenes. And secondly, our first integration into QGIS, the open source GIS platform. And we're committed to making that ever easier and continuing to improve these integrations, not just with these GIS platforms, but others as well. But one more thing. I've got one more fun one for you. So a lot of people have also asked for higher resolution imagery than the 72 centimeter data on our SkySat system. And so we are extremely excited to announce that we're going to 50 centimeter. Yep. But this doesn't involve putting new satellites into space, which could take some time, although faster with us, just saying. But with our existing satellite fleet. So we're actually, with a combination of lowering our existing SkySats, as well as some imagery processing improvements, we're going to 50 centimeters. And again, this is not just hypothetical. We've got one of our satellites coming down right now in altitude, and we're doing some tests. If that all goes well, we're going to bring down all of our 15 Sky satellites to be producing not just rapid refresh data at sub-meter, but at 50 centimeter. And this is what the imagery will look like. This is a simulated image on the right-hand side from an aerial photograph here in this area of San Francisco at 72 centimeters and at 50 centimeters. What's important is that at 50 centimeters, you can start to see road markings and other things that are important for mapping and certain other applications. And so we heard you, and we're going towards this 50 centimeter. So that's it for my highlights. I am, once again, extremely excited to welcome you all here. I hope you're as jazzed as I am about some of our new products and services. And it just leaves me to say a few words about what I want you guys all to get out of this next couple of days. Not only do I want you to hear about our latest products and capabilities, but I really want to forge collaboration between you all and Planet, and between each other, to share your best practices with each other so you can learn from each other, and to forge collaboration that helps us to go after some of those most pressing challenges around the planet, because I think together we can make a huge impact. So thanks very much for coming. Thanks for coming for Planet Explore.